Naomi lived in Bethlehem in Judah with her husband and their 2 sons. At that time, the people of Israel were ruled by judges like Gideon, Samson, and Deborah. There was a famine in the land, so it was difficult to find enough food to survive. Naomi and her husband decided to go to Moab. While they were in Moab, Naomi's husband died. Naomi's sons married women from Moab, Orpah and Ruth. They lived in Moab for 10 years, and then Naomi's sons died. Naomi, Orpah, and Ruth were all alone. The famine was over, so Naomi decided to go home. The women were very sad to leave each other. Orpah returned home, but Ruth clung to Naomi. "Wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." So Naomi and Ruth returned to Bethlehem together. Naomi gave Ruth permission to go into the fields and gather fallen grain. She happened to go to the field of Boaz, a good man from the family of Naomi's late husband. Boaz saw Ruth in his field. He had heard how kind Ruth was to Naomi. So Boaz told Ruth to stay in his field where she would be safe. Boaz made sure Ruth had enough food. Ruth gathered plenty of grain in the field. She returned to Naomi and told her about Boaz. "Boaz is one of our family redeemers," Naomi replied. A family redeemer was someone who would help his close relatives if they were in trouble. Naomi knew Boaz would take care of Ruth, so she encouraged Ruth to stay in his fields. Naomi wanted to make sure Ruth had a husband to take care of her, so she gave Ruth special instructions. Ruth put on her best clothes and lay down near Boaz's feet. In this way, Ruth showed Boaz that she hoped he would marry her. Boaz was surprised to find Ruth at his feet. "You are a family redeemer," Ruth said. Boaz promised to redeem Ruth, which meant he would buy back the land that Naomi sold after her husband died, and he would marry Ruth. He gave Ruth grain and sent her home. Boaz bought back the land that had belonged to Naomi's family, and he married Ruth. Ruth and Boaz had a son named Obed. Naomi took care of Obed. When Obed grew up, he was the father of Jesse, who was the father of King David. Boaz was a family redeemer. That means he would help his close relatives who were in trouble. Boaz cared for Ruth and Naomi because their husbands had died. In a similar way, Jesus is our Redeemer. We need help because we sin. Jesus bought our salvation for us by taking our punishment when he died on the cross.